welcome to Feels Like Future. This is the first time we're doing something like this, and the idea behind FLF has been to build this community, build this space where conversations about nightlife, conversations about things that we do as artists or just as managers or booking agents, or this whole like sort of club space music we all are in. The idea is to bridge those conversations with club nights and really build an ecosystem where everything can sort of coexist, more awareness can happen.
Yep.
So that's the idea behind Feels Like Future, and we thought you'd be an absolute perfect person to sort of have for the maiden edition. So thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's my first time here. Just got into Delhi. I'm excited.
Nice. So quick intro. My name is Anhad. I've also been an artist from New Delhi, and all the music we play is very, very like personal and close to my heart. And generally, music has just been an art form that has existed in life somehow. Never chose it, but it has always been existing. But before we dive into too much of the conversation, like, be nice to sort of hear from you about who Elijah is, a little introduction from your end.
Yeah, so I'm from London. My parents are Jamaican. I was born in 1987, so I'm kind of like half analog, half digital. I had 10 years without the internet as a kid, and then got like online pretty early for, I don't know, like 97, 98. Started downloading stuff, making stuff online, kind of connecting with people.
Yeah.
And then like grime was happening at the same time, which is like a kind of rap and dance music scene in London. And it was happening on my doorstep in East London on like pirate radio, which is like our kind of illegal broadcasting system that kind of ran through the 80s, 90s and 2000s. And still going now in this culture and spirit, but it's obviously moved online now.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a moment where I was like, okay, internet, pirate radio, grime, how do you combine all this stuff? How do I get involved?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure until it was like writing, DJing, and then eventually kind of later on starting a label and linking up with other creatives. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Like my journey, I guess, if you was putting it in genres, it would be like reggae, jungle, hip hop a bit, UK garage, grime, and then getting involved.
Nice, buzzing. So first time in India.
Yes.
How does it feel? Like, you had Bombay last night.
Yeah.
What was the first impression?
I think as a Brit or a Londoner, or you can't guess what India is like from that perspective. You just have to get there and just like take it in as it is.
Yeah.
So I didn't have like, I thought it was gonna be like this, or I thought it was gonna be like that. I just got here and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, take it all in. Everyone's been super friendly. Even when I've been out in the street, people have been asking questions. And it's moving fast. There's a lot of people. It's something that's very noticeable. Everywhere you go, open the door, it's people. And it's like...
There's dense in it.
Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel the bodies, you feel the warmth, you feel the energy.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
Just for perspective, New Delhi alone has more people than the entire Australia.
Okay.
So when you hear that stat, you just sort of, it hits you how dense the city can be. And coming from London and now being in this sort of space, first flight landing into Bombay, getting into the clubs, you said like, people have been asking you questions. What kind of interactions have you had with her? Like,
yeah, most of the questions are, like, how do we get heard? Everyone wants to get their voice heard. Everyone wants to get their art seen. Everyone wants to get listened to. And primarily they're thinking about doing that online. I'm like, no, like the people, like how many people in this room?
Yeah.
There's probably already 100 people here, which is awesome. Yeah. And it's like getting those people first is the step. Like the internet thing is like a secondary.
Yeah.
Like not the other way around. Yeah. Obviously when we're in our houses or by ourselves or like just using the app, you're thinking, like how do I get people to just listen to what I'm doing? But I'm like, yo, come outside. Come out, like people that came to the workshop yesterday, lecture yesterday, and the club yesterday. I'm like, you're doing the right thing already. Just talk to people that are here.
Yeah.
Like they're the community. Yeah. And get involved and find a way to be interesting and useful and contribute without expecting anything in return. And then like something else can develop out of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like physically being part of the scene is very important. And I think with agree the internet is just buzzing and it's growing, but then that presence, that physical presence and a handshake in person, or just that connection goes way longer than just, you know, a little intro on email or something.
Exactly.
But definitely the connections on internet also have an upside, considering the way we connected. You know, like this whole India thing was a mere DM I sent you on Instagram. And I feel like it's a really interesting way to open new doors, open new segues into sort of building something. Elijah generally now has gotten into the space of yellow squares. How did that happen, and what's the philosophy behind that?
Yeah, so like when things were opening up in the UK after the pandemic in July 2021, I was like, is the scene going to be the same, or is the community of artists like that there, like got the right information to kind of continue? Even for myself, I was like, you know, we'd spent 18 months in limbo, not sure what's going to happen next. Like, how can we make this thing like work? And all of the questions I see regularly getting asked, I was like, let me ask the question too. Like, I don't even know some of this stuff. So half of the work is for me, and then half of the work is sharing some of the stuff that I've learned over the last like 15 years.
Well, that's fine.
It's cool.
It's cool.
And now, like, I think what happens is, like, obviously you get me putting out a question or a prompt, and then people asking back, oh, like, what is that a London thing, or is that a Manchester thing, or is that Mumbai thing, or is that a Delhi thing? Like, does that work everywhere? And that's the challenge. It's like not writing from a London perspective, because that's where it started. But writing that can filter out to everyone and be applicable very broadly. Because India was like one of the first places I got international feedback. Someone here that was very big was sharing my work.
Yeah.
I can't work out who it is. I'm going to figure out who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, they had a lot of followers. It was crazy. But I think that's how like a lot of random people just got in contact.
Do you think like these yellow squares were a bit of a personal journey, trying to figure out what's next?
Yeah, 100%.
And then did you see it blow up like this? Like,
it's been gradual. I think this was mad interesting. Like for me, I'm just writing and sharing. This is like a side project, and it's not my main thing that I do, but it's the main thing people know me for now. So it's like this weird balance where people, oh, this is what you're doing all the time. I'm like, no, this is like a byproduct of other work that I'm doing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, what's the other work you're dabbling in?
So, I guess my day job is in artist management. I'm working with like brands occasionally, doing consulting work. So a lot of the writing is from that perspective. It's from like, okay, seeing what works or what's working and what's not working. And maybe the common things that everyone seems to be doing.
Yeah.
That I'm like, if everyone is doing it, I'm not going to do that. Let me just find another pivot. And now maybe, like I say, in the DJ community, when everyone starts to do some particular thing, it has like lower resonance, right? It becomes like a language that everyone notices. But then I'm like, hold on. We're supposed to be making art here. Let's do something different.
Yeah, so are these just observations you're sort of documenting in some way? When you sit with your iPad and Procreate and you're on it, like, what's the thought process going behind? Like, these are just like small things you've collected from here and there.
No, it's like
your day job.
It's like a collection of all the conversations, all the experience.
Gotcha.
Like, imagine this experience of being in India might be weeks worth of content or weeks worth of writing and thoughts and all of the information and vibes you're soaking up, you know? So maybe there's things that I've experienced maybe 5 years ago, but I get a moment, like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Or I can find maybe 6, 7 words to like frame what I mean by something. And it doesn't always, most of them don't work at any level. That's what's funny.
You've got a big reject pile as well of stuff.
Yeah. Most of the stuff I write is not useful to anyone apart from me. Just capturing.
That's why but it's a balance you're maintaining between a personal journey, stuff you're writing for yourself.
Yeah.
And as you said before as well.
Yeah, because I guess like some of those things that maybe it's taken me a while to get to the thing that actually works.
Yeah.
So it'll start with like the idea, then like a clever way to frame it, then a clever way to draw it, then like the other things to put it alongside.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about it in a lecture, like it becomes like a bit of a joke or something. Then there's like the feedback to it.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of layers like that can come from something really simple, like
Yeah, you
six letters.
definitely, you're definitely not trying to like sound academic about any of
No,
the
I'm not an academic, if that's not clear already.
No. What's been like the biggest takeaway from doing these yellow squares? What's been personal for you? Is there a yellow square that sort of stood too special for you?
I think the biggest takeaway overall is that maybe the music education and creative education system is just too slow. Like the way the world is moving right now, I'm not sure like how that can keep up. Like if you went and studied like a music management course in London, I'm not sure how much that prepares you for what being a music manager is, you know?
Slow in the sense the pace of certain things are slow, or development is slow, or say just what's being taught in a university just is not correlating with actually what the world is.
I think all of them.
Yeah.
and maybe what happens if you're out of the ecosystem for too long, say if you were a manager like 5 years ago, you have no clue what it's like today. It's a different industry, a different world. Before, maybe the people in the UK, you're just like thinking about the British market and focused on that, maybe Europe. But now, like the biggest pop music in England is like from West Africa and not from America, not from the UK. So that changes the whole dynamic of what the thing is. If you were a music manager when you have to sell CDs, now it's streams. If you were a music manager before TikTok or Instagram, it's like it's not the same platform at all.
Yeah.
And even the same with DJing. It's like DJing today, 2023, 2024 and beyond, it's not the same thing as those people that were maybe in the back of a club playing records to people at Paradise Garage. Like this is not the same thing. Like, and the whole infrastructure is still framed of DJing being that, when it's clearly not.
Yeah, it kind of stems into two things I want to talk to you about. I think one thing is just like artists nowadays trying to like chase dreams of becoming somebody who became somebody before internet. And I think it's taken from one of your squares, which is do not compare yourself or do not try to be an artist who was pre-internet era or Instagram. Like, what's your thought on that? Like, because I feel in India as well, a lot of young artists struggle with that idea, you know. While they are embracing social media, it's still a challenge, you know. It's still like, you still want to be, say, like Fortet. Or, one of those, like...
Yeah, he's like a great example.
You hear me, right? Like,
But Fortet's incredible because he's actually using the distribution and platforms and challenging them in an interesting way.
Yeah.
He's not just like sitting and just putting out tunes like how he used to. He's like, he's trying out stuff, like collaborating with new people and new talent. Like, he's one of my favorite artists to actually follow. And it's not like super contrived. He's just trying stuff out and vibing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just work with big people. He works with like small artists and people that he just likes and enjoys the music. And like, I really enjoyed following him. But broadly, in terms of like, you tend to like imitate what you grew up with, which I understand. But again, like the distribution is completely different. The communication is completely different. The ecosystem is so different now that maybe when I started DJing, there were just like there was a lot less DJs. Now there's like 1,000 next to DJs.
Yeah.
And then we weren't thinking about here. When I started DJing, I was thinking about my local area. That's it. Now you're on the same platform as everyone else. And you know, the whole of the DJ community on Instagram. That's why I'm here. And kind of thinking about it, not just being broad for being broad's sake, but how like you can expand what the meaning of these things are. It might mean that you don't release 5 EPs. You might release 1 EP, but then you do a little art show, then you collaborate with someone to make some video shit. We do a podcast here. We cook some food. Like there's a bit like of a broader way to express yourself as a creative. And that's what I'm trying to get across. It's not like music is bad or DJing is whack or no. It's like, let's try and
expand the definition. Yeah.
Exactly.
What does DJing means to you? Like, I'm kind of curious, like, how do you feel like the definition of DJing back in the day to versus now? How has it all changed for you?
Yeah, I think like a lot of DJs back in the day were people, obviously the foundation of DJing is loving music, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like collecting it. Then it's like, okay, all the mixing and technical stuff. And then it's like the wanting to share it with other people and DJing in clubs and building something in that regard. But I think if now people are having to build, you know, like a personal brand and all this other stuff, I'm like, okay, that's all good. But then what else can you build in and around that? The love of music, cool. Where can you play music? Not just in a club. It can be in a restaurant. It can be outside in the garden. It can be like, think of how many places where music lives today compared to back in the day.
Yeah.
It's so
it's
broad.
wild.
Like before, like when you went to listen to music, it was like a physical, like thing. Like put the record or put the CD in and press play. Now it's everywhere. You wake up, okay, there's music playing here from the phone, on the PlayStation, in your Instagram. It's everywhere. So why can't a DJ or a DJ kind of culture think about how we fit everywhere in a more meaningful way?
I mean, at this point, like, as soon as you got an iPod, you'd become a DJ.
Exactly.
Because like you're constantly curating. And I believe in that as well. Like, again, something I read on your Instagram was more people DJing is actually really good for the system. And why I resonated with that was because I feel like instantly everybody starts thinking about this curation. And when somebody's curating, that means they care for it.
Exactly, it's care.
Yeah, that care is there. And be it in a restaurant, be it for your personal use, be it like, you know, something as small as, say, like my sister who's not remotely into music, but just wants to have a nice playlist for her car while driving. I think that's also some form of DJing.
Of course, yeah.
And it's really beautiful because, like, the whole idea, like, you don't have to be boxed with the idea of being a DJ. Just at this point, it's spreading.
Yeah, it's like part of your life rather than what you are.
Yeah.
And I think like that difference, like the same way people maybe, if you're writing captions on Instagram or you're writing on Twitter, you don't necessarily become a blockbuster author. And if you're a DJ, you don't have to be Tiesto.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like something, it's just another form of expression. You know?
Yeah, definitely not taking it so seriously as well.
Yeah.
Really helps.
Exactly.
But I think what becomes a bit of a problem is just chasing numbers. And segueing into this conversation about numbers, like, do you think numbers can decide success?
If you want them to, like, I'm very aware of what numbers mean to other people. Like, oh, now you have a certain amount of followers, people's perception of you might change.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't like that, 2-3 years ago. But I found that I haven't changed. The methods of like where I deliver the work hasn't changed that much. And it's just like, okay, the algorithm is in my favor right now. But one of the squares that we put out there was make 0 your favorite number.
Yeah.
Because I will blow this thing up and start again before I deeply care about how many likes something gets or how many comments. Like, I would rather just come here, talk to people in real life and feel the engagement, not see, 20,000 comments. Like, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? I don't think when it comes to even the end of the year, of my year of highlights, I'm not gonna say, it's because one post got 10,000 likes, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, we won. Like, no, it's like,
but like,
I'm not even sure if any post has got 10,000. Who cares?
Yeah. Have you ever had that kind of conversation with yourself that if I post this, or like the first yellow square, like, probably 100 people saw it?
Yeah, less, probably.
Were you disheartened? Were you?
No.
No, right?
No.
Because I feel a lot of like artists, like, and just like get into this conversation of a lot of brands, a lot of like these external factors that sort of start triggering artists to like mold what they're creating because they want to chase numbers.
I understand that, but like maybe it's like I enjoy what I created in the first place.
Yeah.
So then the secondary thing is like sharing it.
Yeah.
So maybe what happens with social media in particular is that people didn't enjoy creating the thing to post, then they post it and then it doesn't get a lot of likes. Then that's annoying. So you wasted your time and you feel like, oh, I did something I didn't even want to do in the first place. Whereas with this, I want to do it. And then it's like, okay, it gets, okay.
Everything else becomes a secondary when you're doing it. In some ways. Yeah.
And I think that's an easier way to create from. Like, if I'm making the assumption that it's going to get nothing, but I enjoyed making the thing, like, that's why it's make the thing. It's not, it's close out, make the thing, not close out, make the thing. You'll get all the likes, you'll be successful, you'll be rich, you'll be famous. It stops at make the thing, making the thing and enjoying it, done.
But yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That completely makes sense because then there's no like sort of internal pressure of, what you're trying to chase or like all these external things, I think, which really have started to affect artistry nowadays.
Yeah.
But bit of a cliche question coming in. What's the definition of success personally for you?
Yeah.
And how do you think it has changed from, say, like 5 years ago and now, considering scenes change, you've been around, yeah, where are you at with
Yeah,
success?
it's a good question. It definitely varies project to project because I see like all of the work I do is separate. They overlap at points, but if you just take it on pure personal level, it's just working on stuff that I enjoy more than working on stuff that I dislike. So if I spend 51% of the time doing stuff that I really enjoy, then I'm winning.
Got you.
A lot of the background stuff in music is annoying,
Yeah.
jarring, slow, but it has to be done to do the other stuff. So if I
Yeah.
can gradually make that bit smaller and make the other things bigger, then great. But if not, fine.
Do you think when you say other things bigger in terms of like more time to create, more time to actually do
Yeah,
it?
even just more projects. I could do more stuff. Like
Yeah.
I feel like this is the thing. Like the reason I don't do more stuff is because not because of time. It's usually just because of just friction. It's like, say I could work on another collaborative project with another MC or another theatre show or whatever it's going to be, but once you start involving other human beings, venues, this thing gets
Yeah.
moved. Okay, cool. Whereas this thing, because it's just me, most of the time, I can get a lot done. And sometimes I see this with artists. They'll be like, oh yeah, I got to wait for my agent, I got to wait for my manager, I got to wait for the label, I got to wait for the distribution, I got to wait for this, I got to wait for that, I got to wait for that. And then by the time you figure it out, 18 months is gone, and you're still sitting on the same 5 songs. It's like,
Yeah, it's just slow. The process gets slow.
Whereas
and, like,
this,
taxing.
this thing that I'm working on by myself, it's eliminated all of that stuff. So you reached out, I said, yeah, just get on an email, sort it, send it off, I don't care, whatever, just do it. Fine, cool, I'll come, and now I'm here. So just removing all of these bullshit barriers and getting the things done, and all of that compounding to make something.
Yeah, that's amazing. I also like what you said about success can, as opposed to like defining it as a whole, just like put it in buckets, keep it project basis. Because like I can see a lot of young artists, including myself, kind of like feel certain things work, certain things don't work. But certain things working and not working, does that really define my worth? Or do I feel success? So like that's a really valid like point, like dividing your success into buckets as opposed to like...
Yeah, and like this thing is one project of many projects that I worked on.
And you feel
that.
successful doing this.
Yeah, so like when I stop this project, okay, I'll figure out something else, and then that thing will likely not work. And it's cool, I'll just be, okay, I'll figure out this thing, okay, I'll make whatever it's gonna be, the next thing. And if it doesn't work, then I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna like go back to this. This is just right for today, for now, for the coming out of 2020, 2021. This is the right project, the right timing, the right medium. Cool. You hit on like maybe 3 things, but it's likely that the next things I'll just do for my own enjoyment or like validation or whatever, and then go from there, you know? Like,
do you feel you're constantly experimenting? Like just most moves are just like an experiment and then
bro, like no one knows, bro, like what's going on. Like, and I don't want to, that's the thing, I'm not trying to pretend like I know more than, like I'm saying that's the foundation of the project. It's like, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
So let me just figure it out. And that seems more enjoyable than just racking my brains about it by myself. In the house, you know?
Interesting, like makes complete sense. Like it's more and more like, it's just really eye-opening how much the industry has changed, and like generally where do you feel like the cost of living at the cost of creating art? Money is a big topic spoken about. It's not easy making art and making money at the same time. Where do you weigh in there? Like,
yeah, so for most people, I'd say like in London, I'm not sure what it's like here, but I say to
I'll
them,
get into that as well. Yeah,
like,
I'm curious.
get any work that you can that leaves you enough time to do your artwork that you want to do.
Yeah.
It means that, you're working like crazy, but then you don't have that compromise. Like at least have the survival sorted, and then you can create with whatever you have in the time that you have. Instead of trying to like make the magnum opus at a start, it's like just making stuff and putting it out and sharing it and meeting people in the time that you have. Like time is the creative director. It's driven from that idea. It's like, okay, if you could only work on your project every Saturday or every Sunday or wherever it's going to be, or Monday evenings, then you make a project that fits with the time that you have. You're not trying to make Infinity Wars in in your evening project.
Yeah.
It's like you make something that you can make and get out with the time that you have. And this is what this project is. It's a side thing for me. I can do it when I'm on the move anywhere, post it. As soon as I introduce another person or I introduce video or I have to be in the same setup every day or I have to type out subtitles for some video on TikTok, and it's long and it makes it not fun. And I can do, deliver and make it useful. And with artists, I'm like, yo, survive first.
Survive.
Then okay, art, and then figure out like where you fit in between. And if you get that balance of like, okay, shit, I can do like one less day at work, cool, because I can dial up the art.
Yeah.
Or I can quit my job, fine. There's moments where you might have to take a leap, but survival first, man.
No, definitely. I think that makes sense. And like the thing with India is, and the Indian culture, just generally, like there's always this like constant pressure from say like your parents or somebody to, you know, very common cliche thing, either be a doctor or an engineer, get a job, get a 9 to 5, be structured. Art, music, visual art, dance, everything comes way below the line when you come from an Indian background. But I think what you just shared makes a lot of sense because you don't want to be making art and just being broke because that's not going to fuel your art at all. No,
and you're not having a diversity of experiences as well.
Yeah.
Like the most interesting artists and DJs and producers and stuff are out here living. Like how good can your art be if you spend all of this day in a box, you don't talk to no one, you're just like hammering zeros and ones into a computer. Like I don't know how interesting your art can be.
Yeah.
Like the yellow squares doesn't work if I don't do the management work, if I don't come and visit people, do the talks, have that interaction.
Yeah.
There's loads of pages where you can find where someone's gonna write, trust your gut, or like some random quote from a film or something. Yeah, work hard, like all this bullshit. Yeah. And it's like,
it's not gonna get you.
Where's your work as well? You know what I'm saying? And like me doing this thing, like close out, make the thing, without me making the thing myself at the same time, makes no sense and it's hypocritical.
Yeah.
So at the same time as me saying, close out, make the thing, I am doing that. And you can see it in real time.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, maybe.
If you weren't doing any of the other stuff, management, you know, working with as a consultant, not doing the yellow squares, where do you see yourself fitting in?
I don't know.
Anything that inspires you apart from all of this, apart from music, anything?
I don't know.
Just curious to know where this creativity is flowing from.
I want to try some other stuff. I've been working in music for a long time, or working in and around music. So definitely, maybe after this project, I'll like see where I'm at and just like, okay, learn something new, try out some new stuff, and then I might have something to add value to this thing that already exists.
Yeah.
So I think like, the tunnel vision in music, even for myself, is based on limited experience, right? So if I go and, I don't know, become an engineer for 2 years or go and work at a company or go and work in the film industry or wherever it's going to be, then I might be able to be useful in this community still. I can't continue to be useful only doing this.
Yeah. I mean,
you
could be.
It's not possible.
What makes you think you can't?
Because I need to be out here making stuff, collaborating with people, seeing what the broader set of like creative is. But if I spend time just working on the same things I've always worked on and doing lectures and stuff, then.
But do you feel like expanding an idea is also as important as creating new ones?
Yeah, definitely. I've been doing that though.
Yeah.
And, but you could just start from, again, make 0 your favorite number, right?
Yeah.
Start from scratch. Fuck it.
Takes a lot of, I guess, guts to like start from 0. It's not easy.
So everyone says that, but then you might not even be given that choice. Like 2020, no one gave us that choice, right?
Yeah.
You just
fair
like,
enough.
oh, okay, cool. Whereas if you make it, then it might have to, your hand might be forced anyway. So
yeah.
I've been very fortunate to be able to travel this year, but in the different personal circumstances, I wouldn't have been able to, and then none of this would happen. So instead of like waiting for something drastic to change, like make that change before. Get the jump.
Yeah. How do you feel like this sort of community is built? You feel you've managed to hone a community out of these squares? Do you feel satisfied? This sort of constant conversation I see you do about culture, community.
Yeah.
One being the word of 2000s, one being the word of more recent times.
Yeah.
Where's your head at with
Yeah,
that?
like culture was like a bunch of people that maybe the famous people or the people that got big or have the loudest voice or the biggest media platforms talking down to all of us and going, this is what it is. This is the best techno artist. This is the best thing. These are the top 100 DJs. These are the best labels. Now, we're getting to decide that collectively. We're getting to participate and make things and have a conversation. And that's the difference. Our culture was like downwards. Community is a bit more flat. It's like giving a lot more people a voice than they had before. You can see it in the diversity of people that have blown up in the last 2-3 years. You know, some of the acts from the UK, that the literal makeup of the acts has changed. You know? So like, you think of like Young Sing or Jyoti or Sherelle, Noria, Sharisi, Hagen, just the Lucy, like, it's all these different people that 5 years before the makeup of the new acts didn't look like that, you know what I'm saying? And usually it was just dudes or two dudes standing next to each other going, yeah, this is us, you know? And that has changed. And again, it can continue to go a level above, level above, level above. And those ideas and those belief systems being integrated into what's happening, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that very much resonates with how the scene is in India as well at the moment, be it Bombay, be it Delhi. There's so many interesting smaller communities that, and I think them all collectively is now dictating what the culture is.
Exactly.
Be it say Box out here, be it, you know, Konnekt doing their parties, be it Night Vibe doing their parties. Bombay has crunk scene. I believe a bunch of the Gully Gang people were there last night as well.
Yeah. I met Divine and DJ Proof.
Yeah.
The Swadesi movement. Yeah, man. Like, everywhere I go, I just try and meet people that are making stuff on the ground. Like, go back to back with the DJs last night, have MCs on a set. Like, I'm not coming here to perform on you. Like, it's like a show that we're doing together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe that's a slight difference to how a lot of other scenes work. You know, if you host an artist, then, you know, it's about them and worship. Like,
it's like
DJ worship kind of thing.
Headliner culture.
Yeah. I understand it, but it's not me, you know? It's not for me. I'm not a pop star.
Back in the day when you were doing like Elijah, Skillium, did you ever feel like you were confiding to that idea of headliner, or was it always about this?
Nah, because the grime scene was like is a scene of many. So it's, you know, it's not like when we do sets, there's like, you know, a few different MCs, you're bouncing off all these different ideas. And even I went to a show last week or the week before, it was by DWE, and he brought out the whole scene. So you see a set, like, or the concert show, and he brings out the MCs during the whole set, and it's like, again, it's showing that he's not an individual by himself. He had the first half of the show, he did with a jazz band called Steam Down, which was sick, and then the second half of the show was like a grime set. So just showing the growth and the musical diversity in London. It's like, it's amazing, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I wish, thinking of ideas in my head, like how could that culture transcend more into like other forms or other sounds of electronic music? Because I feel grime from the beginning was always about, like, you know, people finding their voice, rapping, sort of culture of collaboration. But say like the current techno scene or house scene. Yeah. It's got to figure out ways how that mentality can be integrated more. Yeah. Is it more B2Bs? Is it more collaborations? Is it more, do you have any like on-spot ideas?
Yeah, it's just more everything. Like more conversation. Yeah, more like back-to-backs. And like, I think just context, like one thing that every place that I go or every artist that I speak to, the context that you listen to grime in is so different to mine that you're hearing something, like you're literally hearing something different to me. And the same when I hear the new music here over the next, you know, week, I'm hearing it from the perspective of a Londoner. I'm not here, like, I just don't know the context of everything. Yeah. So that what I say to DJs a lot is like, why do you play that? Why do you play that into that? Make that clearer, make people understand. Like, oh, okay, this is why I play these songs. This is why I rate this artist. This is why this new producer is exciting. This is why this voice is worth hearing. This is why we're Konnekt. This is why we're in this club. This is why we're in this area. Just as much information as possible that you can't chat GPT or Google, you know? This stuff is not obvious.
It's almost trickling down to how important conversation is.
Yeah,
and definitely. I feel like you're right. Like, I can see around me, like, artists are just more afraid doing conversations because it's either numbers or some form of Instagram they want to sort of work on.
What people tend to do is that they, obviously, you become an artist and then you think an artist has to speak like this or has to perform like this, or like you're just basically doing what a pop star does, slimmed down to an audience of like 2, which doesn't work. Like when you're a pop star and you're speaking to 1 million people, then you can speak in a certain way.
It's just a very different context.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how you're integrating context with how all these things could bridge, because like almost every community has a different context
Of course.
to something very similar you might be doing. And as soon as all those sort of different contexts could come together to bring those communities, then sort of build that culture. Yeah, which is really insightful. Yeah, you've got an album out, which has been quite a banging project. Yeah, how did that happen?
I just heard an instrumental called Can We Rhythm, which is like a grime song. I was playing the instrumental and MCs started doing different versions. So you have like a culture that originates from Jamaica where they'll get a beat and loads of MCs will do a different version. Like you hear this in dancehall, like maybe like old Sean Paul songs will have the same beat as like a Wayne Marshall song or Vybz Kartel song, whatever it's gonna be. So we have the same thing in grime, which doesn't happen all the time, but this song, I was like, okay, I wanna put the words that I've been writing on a song, linked up with this MC called Jams. He's a great storyteller, and he put it together like 10 principles of like, you know, the yellow square, what it is.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, I was like, you know what, I've written so much stuff, let me make a whole album out of this concept. Then release the acapellas, then let people remix it, then let me draw the remixes, and yeah, built like, it's just like another creative vessel. Like, I think albums, like everyone thinks an album has to be some big project or it has to be like, you have to be invested in, you have to be signed to a label, and it's all bullshit, man. An album is just songs,
it's just a creative body.
Yeah, it's just a creative body of work. And it doesn't even have to be all together. It could be a mess, it could be shit, whatever, fine. But you've tried to do something and put it out. Like, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a creative footprint you're gonna put, but like, don't have to like box it there.
No.
All this sort of process, how long did it take, like, for the record to come together?
The record took a week.
No way.
Yeah, it doesn't take. How long is a piece of string? It doesn't take a long time to make a record.
Yeah, like, but
it can take a year if you want it to take a year. If you only have a week, it will take a week.
That's insane. Right. Do you have that philosophy behind your head that time's a creative director, I'm not gonna work more than 7 days on it? That's it, or was it just so you just went into it and came out of it?
I think it just gives you a different momentum, a different urgency. We would have just made something different if we had more time. So, and this is like proving the point. It's like, okay, yeah, we could have taken 3 months. Okay, we could have tightened up this lyric or this thing or that thing. Maybe we could have got a feature verse from this part. Who cares? Like, I'd rather it just be done. And the experience of putting it out is the process and experiment, rather than it be some long drawn out thing. I won't be excited anymore. Oh, everyone gets, like, what happens as well is like, oh, you're making an album, yeah, I wanna, and then it starts to dilute what the idea is. Oh, no, wait, we can do a boiler room. We can, wait, we can. It's like, bro, let me just make it. And then we can do, if we want to do this stuff, it should still resonate 3 months down the line or a year down the line, you know?
Yeah, focusing more on the creating and just like
capturing energy.
Yeah,
capturing, and like.
I do feel like making music is like capturing time.
Exactly.
So in your case, you're sort of capturing that moment, capturing that time, try to build something that's just going to stay with you. And yeah, you're right. People who want to resonate with it will. Do you ever feel like this sort of philosophy of like getting things done has ticked anybody off around you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. In what sense? Like,
it's like everyone asks this. Like, it's a conflict of interest. Like why is the manager releasing music? Like, it's crazy. But what else is there to do? Like, I'm a creative person. Want to get ideas done and out. Why not? Like, no one's giving me a reason not.
Yeah.
So until I've got a good reason to stop, unless I want to just stop myself, then whatever. And like, even this barrier of like what people consider a manager to be, don't you want your manager to be creative? Don't you want your manager to have ideas? Don't you want your manager to have an artistic platform? Don't you want your manager to have a worldview that is unique to someone else? I would, if I had a manager.
No, it makes complete sense. Like, I think I want to segue into a little bit of a conclusion where I just want to talk about like the club culture. What has that meant for you? And I definitely feel like club culture is like fueling a big part of the economy. In India, it's still growing. It's very much a growing market. You know, like us having Bollywood as Bollywood music or Bollywood club nights or bottle service clubs being a priority, or that sense, that bougie club culture, and then there's the underground club culture. How do you feel like it adds on to the economy, and how important do you feel it is to hone and preserve club culture?
It's gonna have to just keep evolving. I don't think it's just like preservation. Preservation won't save it or keep it the way it is. It has to keep evolving. Like the space that we're in now is a restaurant and bar and has a terrace and all this kind of stuff. And like that's good. It's like being progressive and thinking about different ways that maybe the essence of club culture can live in the way people live. Not this is what it is. Make it fit around how people are living. And I think more of the music. I went to do an event a few weeks ago, and I was hearing drum and bass loud at like midday in the afternoon in Bristol, and it was a boxer size class with DJ Randall, and I was like, this is something new, taking it out of the original context, bringing it with like a health perspective, energy, middle of the afternoon. There's people that are probably not going to go to the club anymore, but they can still love the music and find a meaningful way to engage with it, and that's like those kind of ideas. There's 1,000 that everyone can approach. And when someone maybe comes to Delhi, it's like, okay, cool. They can play here, and then, I don't know, they can eat there, they can skate here, or, I mean, there's like so many different ways of
It's a bit ballsy to be playing like jungle, drum and bass right in the morning or like midday.
But if you love the music, it doesn't matter what time you hear it,
Yeah, but how do you break that fear? Like, I know, I mean...
People want to hear it, that's the thing. Like, if we did like a gym class...
You've got to find those...
Yeah, and most of the people that love the music are not going to be in the club all the time. The club comes with its other, like, challenges, like, late nights and drinking and, whatever, hedonism and stuff. But not everyone wants both. Some people just love the music and don't need anything else, and we still should service them. It's still worth hearing their voice and being part of the culture.
Amazing. I mean, I think we can close the conversation, but I do have one last very small thing. If, say, you could go back to 2020 or 2021 when you started this project, if there was one thing you'd want to change about what you've done, just like, would you choose a different color? Apart from yellow?
Black and yellow is me.
Yeah.
What would I change? What would I change? That's a good question. If I can't think of something, I'm not saying I wouldn't change because it's not something good.
Satisfying.
Yeah, but everything that's happened has been good from it. So why would I want to change that?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Thank you so much, Elijah. This was mega insightful. And so good to be
Thank you.
in your presence and you being here.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.